so for our next report, please welcome the Group 1.3 headed by Mr. Sarmiento with his members, Ms. Montajes and Mr. Aguirre. And sino nga ba ulit itong mga guests mo? Si Miss Barbarona, Cruzem, Panganiban, Loremas, Redubla. Ang dami mong guest Mr. Sarmiento, ilan yung guests mo?
Bali, 5 po, sir.
5?
5 po sila.
Okay,
yes,
sige.
Po.
So just make sure that all of them will participating to your short discussion.
Yes, sir.
Sige, hindi na ako masyadong magsasalita dito kasi very short lang naman yung risk evaluation. Okay, so I will be expecting all of them will participate to your discussion. Okay? So,
yes,
ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Group 1.4. Thank you.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, sir. I am Orville Joy C. Sarmiento. I am the leader of Group 1.3, and here we are to discuss risk evaluation. And for our first reporter, we should start with Ms. Montajes.
Risk evaluation. Risk evaluation is a process that is used to compare risk analysis results with risk criteria in order to determine whether or not a specified level of risk is acceptable or tolerable. Ito yung isang process na kung saan sinusuring mabuti ang isang nangyaring panganib or mangyayaring panganib at pagsaalang-alang kung paano nakikita ng mga tao yung risk na possible na maranasan natin. Risk evaluation metrics is a management tool which accurately assess business exposure based on the frequency and severity of identified potential risk. Ito naman yung ginagamit sa pag-alam ng panganib, yung sa risk, upang malaman natin ang level of risk na kung saan may kita ang mga kategorya sa mga posibilidad na panganib. May tanong ako para sa guests natin, also sa viewers natin. Ano kaya yung mga possible na risk na mararanasan natin sa turismo? Ako na yung unang bibigay ng example. Yung sa Tagaytay po, natandaan niyo po ba yun? Yung sa 2020 pa po ata yun, yung sa Bulkan po, yung sa Taal. Nung umaano po yung Bulkan na yon, lahat, yun doon na po ata nag-start yung nag-close na yung classes bago pa po yung COVID. Then, yung mga kalapit po niyang lugar, pinasara siya, lalo na po yung Sky Ranch. Matagal pong hindi nag-operate yung Sky Ranch. Then, gumamit po sila ng risk metrics po para masiguridad kung ano yung level nung panganib kung magpapapasok pa po ba sila ng ibang tao, ganun po. Sa guest po natin, may example po ba kayo? Miss Rovelyn, may mabibigay po ba kayong example?
Siguro, ang bibigay kong example is yung sa COVID ngayon. Risking lumabas ngayon, yung COVID po, sobrang mapanganib po siya ngayon. So, sa mga restaurant po, parang limited lang or usually half-half lang po talaga yung pumapasok sa mga establishment po. Kaya po siya naging risky sa food po. Yung, kunyari po yung mga utensils po na ginagamit doon is dapat po isanitize talaga para po hindi na makahawa yung iba. Kasi we never know po kung yung isang tao na yun is infected po or hindi. Parang ganun.
Okay, tama po. Then yung nagka-COVID-19, yung ibang bansa, yung sa mga airport nila, pinasara po nila para wala na pong makapasok para hindi na masyadong maraming tao yung apektuhan or magkaroon ng virus. Risk assessment and risk evaluation. The purpose of risk evaluation is to support decisions. Risk evaluation involves comparing the results of the risk analysis with the established risk criteria to determine where additional action is required. Sabi nga po doon, ang layunin po nito ay suportahan yung desisyon na gagawin natin or yung mga problema na mararanasan natin. And kailangan natin siyang itala. Not sure po ako dun, sir. Pero siguro para po matukoy kung saan mas kinakailangan ng karagdagang aksyon, kaya po tayo merong risk evaluation po. And this can be lead to decision to do nothing further. Ito po yung, I think po wala na po tayong gagawin dun sa action na natin. Kung ano po yung unang naisip natin, ayun na po yung wala tayong babaguhin. Next po, consider risk treatment option. Dito po yung pipili tayo ng mga option kung ano yung gagawin natin na desisyon para mas ma-resolve po. Hindi po tayo mag-stick sa isang decision lang po. Next po, undertake further analysis to better. Ito po yung magsasagawa tayo ng karagdagang pagsusuri. I think hindi po ba siya connected po dun sa pangalawa, sir?
Sa evaluation, meron tayong mga options na pwede pang gawin. And then, for example, dun sa example ko sa inyo na may nadulas sa kitchen because of slippery floor, di ba? You can decide among the options that you wrote on your paper is that you can do much better on that, di ba? With the options that, or with the treatments or risk treatments or solutions, better options doon sa mas nauna mo. Kasi hindi naman yan agad-agad na once you resolve a risk, once you identify, analyze, and evaluate it, hindi lang naman one time, big time na, ayan, boom, ayan na yung solution natin. No. Meron yang better and better options or better solutions na pwede mong ibigay. For example, COVID-19. Ano yung unang solution na ginawa natin?
Lockdown po.
Lockdown. Very good, Miss Redubla. Okay? To avoid people of going out, doing mass gathering, di ba? Yun ang una nating solusyon. Bawal lumabas. Sa classroom, bawal lumabas. Pero pag nag-comply, joke lang. So, yun. Bawal lumabas, di ba? So, that is the first solution. Number 2, solution. Anong ginawa natin?
Vaccine po.
Vaccine agad?
Face mask, sir.
Correct, Mr. Aguirre. Face mask. Face mask and face shield. So, yung PPEs natin, yung mga protective gear natin. And then, doon pumasok yung next solution. Vaccine. Ayan. So, di ba? Parang ganun lang din yun sa risk assessment. Magbibigay ka ng first treatment or first options mo and then you do better on the next time. Okay? Klaro?
Okay po, sir.
Okay. Next.
Next, understand the risk. Sa tingin ko po dito, dapat alam mo yung magiging bad and good side na magiging decision mo po. Next, maintain existing controls. Dito po, I think pipiliin niyo yung kung ano yung naumpisahan niyo po, yun lang po yung gagawin niyo para kontrolado niyo po yung bagay-bagay po.
Okay.
Next.
Just like nitong pandemic season natin, di ba? So, even though we're vaccinated na, we're boosted pa, still, i-maintain pa rin natin yung mga controls natin like social distancing, using a face mask. Sa other establishment, gumagamit pa rin sila ng face shields. So para mas makontrol pa rin yung vulnerability natin sa pagkakaroon ng sakit.
Last po, reconsider objectives. Kailangan yung layunin niyo po. Hindi niyo po siya kakalimutan, hindi niyo siya isasantabi. Susundin niyo pa rin po siya. Mag-focus pa rin po kayo doon para, kasi po pag may objective po kayo, mag-guide po kayo doon sa magiging decision niyo po.
Para lang din na ano bang objective natin to COVID-19? Para hindi siya lumagana pa, para hindi pa siya makahawa ka pa sa iba. So you have to wear your face mask, wash your hands, be vaccinated, be boosted, yun lang yun. Okay? So yung objective natin ay kailangan focus pa rin tayo doon. Okay?
Decision should take account of the wider context and actual and perceived consequences to external and internal stakeholders. The outcome of first evaluation should be recorded, communicated, and then validated at appropriate levels of the organization. Sa ating pagdedesisyon daw po ay dapat kumuha ng halaga at mas malawak na sitwasyon upang makita natin ang kahihinatnan sa loob at panlabas ng ating mga kolig. dapat rin na ang kinalabasan sa ating risk evaluation ay dapat nating italang mabuti at patunayan sa naangkop na antas ng organisasyon po. Risk evaluation, to simply put, is what is acceptable and what needs to be treated for each tourism destination and their national government. Decisions about which risks are acceptable and which are not need to be made against the background of social, economic, and political priorities. It follows then that risks shall be treated accordingly. Risk treatment involves identifying the range of options available to operates and destinations, making plans and action upon them. A useful way to visualize the process is through the risk evaluation metrics. Sa pagkakaroon po ng risk evaluation ay dapat kung ano lang yung tanggap at kung ano ang kailangan tratuhin para sa bawat destinasyon ng turismo at ng ating national government na kung saan mayroong desisyon tungkol sa kung aling panganib ang katanggap-tanggap at alin ang hindi. Example po dito nun sa COVID-19 nga po, di ba? Parang halos lahat po ng bansa hindi sila nagpapasok ng taga-ibang lugar para hindi lumaganap lalo po yung sakit. Kasama sa pagresolba sa panganib ang pagtukoy sa range of option na magagamit ng mga operator at destinasyon sa paggawa ng mga plano at pagkilos ayon sa mga ito. At ayun nga po, yung isang paraan upang mailarawan natin ang prosesong ito ay sa pamamagitan po ng risk metrics po. Nasabi ko na yung definition kanina. So, para sa mga guests natin, ano yung purpose ng risk evaluation? Miss Redobla?
Para sa akin po, yung purpose po ng risk evaluation, kasi sinasabi po dito na, kung ang Tagalog po kasi ng evaluation is pagsusuri. So sinusuri po niya yung mga possible na risk po na nangyayari or ina-identify po niya yung risk na maaari pong mangyari. And then, natutulungan po tayo nito para matukoy kung saan or kailan po natin ginagamit yung pag-evaluate po when it terms to risk na po.
Okay, thank you po. Meron pa akong isang question para kay Miss Cruzem. Saan natin ginagamit yung risk evaluation metrics?
Ginagamit po ito pag alam natin kung ano yung panaginip at para po malaman yung level po ng risk na yan.
Sa panganib. Panganib.
Panaginip. Bakit may panaginip?
Panganib. Sorry.
Yan, nakakatulong yung nakakatulong yung evaluation metrics para maiwasan natin naman yung risk. Yan. So, our next reporter po, Mr.
Panaginip.
Lakas ng trip niyo sa panaginip, ha? Nagulat ako bakit may panaginip doon.
Sorry po yun lang, sir.
Po yan. Kaya pala
nananaginip pa yata,
kaya
sir.
nanaginip.
Our next reporter po, Mr. Orville po.
Yun. Wait lang, kukompose ko lang yung sarili ko, sir. So, ayun, let me start to discuss what is risk evaluation matrix is. According to Caskelly and Old in 1989, they suggest the use of risk evaluation matrix as shown in figure 1.4, or this image right here contain the 4 management response options according to the level of identified risk, which include risk retention, risk transfer, risk reduction, and risk avoidance. So, what's the use of this image? The use of this image is to identify the risk on what level. Like, example, sir, yung sa Cavite City, yung nangyari pong sunog lately. We can say na yung incident na yun is like, we can use this image to identify if it's high severity and high frequency, since masasabi niya kung ano yung nawala dun sa incident, and masasabi rin natin high severity risk yun dahil may extent damage siya. makikita natin kung gaano kalaki yung damage yung naging incident. So yun po yung use ng risk evaluation matrix, in other words. And the next is, according to Wills and Davis in 2000, they defined the level of identified risk as follows. And the first one is risk retention. Is where both the frequency and severity of risk is low. Risk is often retained. This is a form of self-insurance whereby the business operator assumes and accepts a certain level of losses. Retention is either passive, open and close parenthesis. Risks are retained by business operator without the knowledge that they are occurring, or active, where risk is identified and a decision is made to retain and pay for any losses from the business operator's own resources. So what is risk retention first? Let me explain. Risk retention is a setting up a self-insurance reserve fund to pay for losses as they occur. So as the explanation I said, they are the ones who hold the, or hinahawakan nila yung resources if ever na may mangyaring risk on specific establishment or in a place. Sila yung mag-handle ng mga gagastusin para ma-rebuild ulit yung business na yun or makapagbigay ng tulong sa ng incident. Yun lang po. And may I ask Ms. Barbarona to answer my question? For you, on your own words, Ms. Barbarona, what do you think the other use basically ng risk retention?
For me po, ginagamit po sa pagplano pa kung paano gagawin yung mga dapat gawin, yung mga operations, and then yung mga mangyayari na kailangan nilang gawin. Yun po.
Okay, thank you. Tama po yung sinabi niya, sir. Yun po yung other purpose o use ng risk retention. Let's go to the next reporter, Ms. Avira. Are you ready?
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Doon sa risk retention na diniscuss mo, sir. For example, I have a business. How can I retain a risk? How can I avoid of paying so much money to the risk na pwedeng hindi naman ako yung gumawa or hindi ko naman kasalanan?
You can, like, pwede siya, sir, na, like, you, example, sir, na, yun nga, sabi nyo, kayo yung business owner, and then, you can resolve that incident or risk by, parang inaaral mo kung ano yung talagang nangyari, ano yung pinagmulan, ganun, sir. To, parang, makalculate mo rin ng ayos kung paano mo i-handle yung resources mo nang hindi masyadong malaki yung mababawas to avoid yung risk na meron.
Okay.
Or yung nangyari.
Sige, thank you. Sa ating mga viewers and so the guest na nandito, di ba kanina na-discuss din yung sunog sa Star Mall dito sa may Alabang? So ano yung safeguard ng isang may-ari ng Star Mall, Alabang, for that fire that happened? Meaning, syempre, nagkaroon ng sunog, di ba? So, saan sila kukuha ngayon ng pang-reconstruct ng kanilang mall? And how did they retain the risk of having a fire sa kanilang establishment? Kasi di ba sinasabi mo, Mr. Sarmiento, that
Yes.
for both the frequency and severity of risk, low risk
And higher.
and high risk ma-retain, di ba?
Yes, sir.
So, paano siya? Paano mo yun ma-retain yung risk na yun? For example, nasunugan ka.
I think, sir, yung, yes, we can say na yung establishment ko or nyo is okay na, like, na-rebuild na, sir. You can retain that incident or you can avoid that incident to have a warnings on your establishment. Like, put some warnings in
What
different
warnings?
places.
What
Like,
kind of warnings?
no smoking in this place, meron kasing places, di ba sir, na may high risk na magkaroon ng sunog
Mhm.
na dahil lang sa sigarilyo na tinapon doon. Then nagkaroon ng apoy, then lumaki yung apoy na yun.
So, your solution is to put no smoking signages doon sa...
Yes, sir. Or in different places. Kung saan high, like, mataas yung possibility na ganun
Sige.
yung mangyari.
We're going back to the gas station later on, ha? Okay.
Yes.
What other example that you can prevent or you can retain the risk in an establishment? Any other answer from the viewers and the guests? Sa mga guests natin, sino pang guest dito? Miss Redubla? Yes.
Yung kanina po dun about po sa business na sinasabi niya. Para sa akin pwede po natin siyang investigate po muna or alamin po natin kung anong level po. Di ba meron po tayong mga insurance na nakapasok? Pwede po natin ipasok doon kung ano pong level yung insurance mo or ng business niyo po. Then we can check po about doon sa insurance po kung gaano kalaki yung na-damage po sa'yo. Yung iba po is pinipili po nilang mag-cover up. Parang hindi po ganun masabi na ganun siya kalala. Or kasi pag naano po na, ganito na to. So, mahihirapan na po siyang makabangon kasi sobrang bumaba na po siya. So, pwede rin po siyang pumasok ng mag-cover up. And then, yun doon po sa sinabi po ni Julia na utang. Kung hindi po siya kaya about doon sa insurance mo, pwede ka pong humiram. Which is, kaya mo rin dapat siyang ibalik through your business po. Kung alam mo po naaangat pa ulit yung business mo, then why not? Yun po.
Okay. Maglagay ng fire extinguisher, sabi ni Mr. Basilio. Okay, that is one. What else, Mr. Basilio, or to the guests na nandito? Fire yung example natin, di ba? So, pwede tayo maglagay ng fire extinguisher. Yan, sa mga gasoline station, sa many corners of the building para pag nagkaroon ng fire ay madali nating i-grab yung fire extinguisher and use it para hindi na lumaki yung sunog. What else ang pwede nating ilagay to avoid fire?
I think, sir, yung like halimbawa may sunog sa isang building. Pag pinakonstruct mo yung building, like 'di ba may parang blueprint yan, ganun, sir. May plan, kumbaga. You can add an fire exit on different places of your establishment. So, yung mga tao and yung mga employees mo, makakalabas din agad and makakahingi ng tulong from the fireman.
Okay.
Para ma-retain yung incident or mapigilan, basically.
So that is for the safety of the people. Now,
yes, sir.
For the safety of the building, okay, so I saw a comment from Mr. Douglas. Fire sprinkler and fire alarm, pwede rin po yun. So once, for example, short circuit ng wire, pag nagkaroon ng short circuit, mag-spark yan, it can cause fire. Kung may fire sprinkler ka, pag nagkaroon ng sunog, mag-activate yung fire sprinkler, bubuhos ng tubig, wala nang sunog, tapos. And then automatic magkakaroon ng fire alarm, magti-trigger yung fire alarm. So, ma-alarm yung mga employees and people inside the building. So, we can go outside or go out in the fire exit. And also, sa nabanggit ni Miss Redubla, yung insurance. So, Mr. Sarmiento, what is the difference between the passive risk retention and active risk retention? Nasa slide mo siya. Nakagabasa ko.
Yung active, sir, is planado. Parang yun nga yung examples kanina, sir. May fire extinguisher, may fire sprinkler, insurance, fire exit, and signages. And yung passive naman is walang warnings. Unexpected, parang ganun.
Okay.
Yung ganun, sir. Parang ganun yung point ng passive and yung active.
Okay, so active risk retention is that to retain the risk, you have to be active on your decision. Active,
yes,
ibig sabihin, ikaw as the business owner will do or you will get from your resources, from your own pocket to do a necessary actions like putting signages, putting alarm system, smoke detector, fire exits, yun. So, that is active risk retention. Ibig sabihin, ikaw mismo as the business owner will do the necessary actions to do or to retain the risk. Yung passive naman po, diba sabi, risk are retained by businesses operators without the knowledge that they are occurring. Okay, for example, sa isang business naman, considering that you did your best or you did all of your with all your resources to avoid this fire, you will get an insurance for your building. It is very necessary or it's a requirement kung meron ka sarili mong building na magkaroon ka ng insurance to avoid spending more money. Siyempre, of course, you will spend a little money for the insurance policy. Okay, for example, yung Star Mall, ang chismis dyan, okay, di ba may chismis na agad? Si mga Marites. Okay, or even dun sa Star City, doon, ang speculations nila is that they did that to claim their insurance. So for example, 10 years ka na nagbabayad ng insurance. Mostly, or some, should I say, or di na mostly, some of the establishment, they tend to do it purposely na magkaroon ng sunog para makapag-claim sila ng insurance. Okay, I'm not saying that Star City and Star Mall did that intentionally, but there is a possibility. And so, the insurance company will have to investigate if this accident of fire is they do it in purpose or really an accident. Okay? And so, for the passive risk retention, wala kang ilalabas na malaking halaga dyan to cover up the risk that happened. And dun sa passive is that you are not aware of this risk that na pwedeng mangyari. Next reporter, please. Mr. Sarmiento, who is our next reporter?
Yes, sir. Next reporter po is si Mr. Aguirre.
Okay. Risk transfer. Where the frequency of risk potential is low, but the severity of potential incident is high. The most common and traditional approach to risk management is transferring responsibility to other parties. Risk transfer. Ang halimbawa ng risk transfer ay ang insurance. Halimbawa, bumili ka sir ng kotse. So may insurance tayo na ibalik ito kapag nasira. So ganun din po sa trabaho. May insurance po tayo kapag may masamang nangyari sa atin sa trabaho. May tulong o support tayo sa company.
Risk transfer is that hindi naman sa i-CCC mo, you will transfer the responsibility to others. Okay, ibig sabihin, yung responsibility of spending. Yan. For example, sa binigay niya na example ni Mr. Aguirre is the insurance. So sa insurance ba ng kotse is that paano yung sinabi mo Mr. Aguirre kanina?
Sir, pagka kunyari sir, yung kotse na binili mo sir nasira, na ganun po. Pwede mo po siyang ibalik.
Ibalik? Talaga ba? Pwede ba yun?
Parang dadalhin lang siya sa kasa, sir, to
okay.
Parang ayusin.
So,
yan.
okay. But that is not insurance. That is warranty. Okay?
Sir, sa ibang bansa parang pwedeng ibalik pagka
yes,
na-accident yung kotse.
Oh, hindi. Ganito.
Parang babayaran po nila pero half lang po nung nabayad nila.
Okay, ganito. This is how it works, ladies and gentlemen. Okay? So, yung example ni Mr. Aguirre is not insurance, it's warranty. Okay? Like for example, cellphone, bumili ka ng cellphone. Okay? And then, pag uwi mo sa bahay, hindi ka makatawag, hindi ka makapag-text, walang signal, ganyan. No? So, babalik ka sa binilan mo, it's either papapalitan mo yung unit or papagawa nila yung unit free of charge. That is warranty. Insurance is, for example, nabangga ka. Okay? Once you get out of the casa or the car dealer, okay, it is your full responsibility. That is why it is a must to have an insurance for your vehicles. Okay? Kailangan po ng insurance kasi once na lumabas ka ng kasa or ng car dealer, it's your full responsibility and not the car dealer. That is very important. That is why getting an insurance before going out of the car dealer na magkaroon ka ng insurance. Yung insurance, ganito naman po yung insurance. Meron iba't ibang iba't ibang level ng insurance. Okay? Merong tinatawag na comprehensive insurance, meron namang vehicle lang. Nakalimutan ko yung term for the vehicle lang. Comprehensive, ibig sabihin, for example, ako nagda-drive ako. Okay? May nabundol akong motor. Nasira ko yung motor. Tapos na-aksidente yung nasugatan yung nagmomotor. Okay? Kapag vehicle lang ang coverage ng insurance ko, vehicle lang ang nila. Ako as the driver, sagot ko yung nasagasaan ko. Yung nasaktan, yung na ospital. So kung comprehensive, kasama yon, kasama yung vehicle, kasama yung tao, kasama yung property. Okay, for example, nagda-drive ako. Lasing ako, nagda-drive, bigla ako nakatulog. Nakasagasa ako ng motor na may tao, tapos nabundol ko yung gate or yung tindahan ng isang bahay. So sa comprehensive coverage yon, yung vehicle, yung tao, yung property na nasagasaan ko. Ganun siya. So that is how you transfer the risk. You get your own insurance to transfer the responsibility of the risk to other parties, which is the insurance company. Okay?
Risk reduction is where the severity of potential risk remain low but the overall frequency of risk is increasing. Business operators need to consider ways to reducing their exposure. Example ko sir, risk reduction ay tumatalakay sa pagpapakaunti ng mga potensyal na pagkalugi sa pamamagitan ng pagbabawas ng posibilidad na kalubhaan ng isang posibleng pagkawala ng isang individual. Risk avoidance is where the frequency and severity of risk potential are both high. Business operators should consider canceling a program or activity. Risk avoidance, ito po tukulin po ng operator na alamin ang posibleng panganib sa kanyang company dahil pag hindi nila ito ginawa, maaari silang malugi dahil sa mga ito. I have two questions for our visitors po, sir.
Go ahead.
Ms. Loremas, how does risk reduction reduce?
Reducing exposure to hazards. It also lessening vulnerability of people and property. Wise managing of land and the environment, and it also improving preparedness for adverse event.
Can you give example to that, Ms. Loremas?
Example po sa COVID, nagkaroon po tayo ng nabigyan po natin ng risk reduction by sa pagkakaroon po natin ng vaccine para dito po.
Okay, so with that example, sige, let's not go further to the vaccine muna. Okay, to reduce the risk, di ba? Nag-lockdown tayo una. Okay, so we avoid going out. We avoid allowing other nationalities or foreigners to go inside our territories. And then we did PPEs to minimize or to reduce the potential of having COVID. So we do masks, we do face shields, we do social distancing, we wash our hands, di ba? And then, next is we did the vaccine, right?
Next question. Does contractual risk transfer absolve me of all risk?
Does contractual risk transfer absolve Me too. What do you mean by this question, Mr. Aguirre?
Tingin ko sir yung sa sa insurance po, pagka contractual tsaka yung tawag nyo, sir, sa company po yung
Permanent?
apo,
Regular?
apo yan, regular po. Tsaka contractual. Yun po yata. Tama po ba?
I don't know. This question is coming from you. That's why I want to understand what does the question. Mr. Sarmiento, how do you understand this question?
Hindi ko po magets kasi sir, siya po yung gumawa ng question na yun. Oo.
Sige, Tagalogin mo na lang yung question mo, Mr. Aguirre, para mas maintindihan natin.
Wala na po ang question.
Biglang nawala yung question. Ha? Hindi
Hirapan
nga.
siya. Nahirapan yata siya sa sarili niyang question.
Nakakatawa yun. Hindi nga, ano yung question mo, Mr. Aguirre? Oh, sabi ni, alam ni Ms. Montajes yung question eh. Does contractual risk transfer absolve me of all risk?
Siya gawa niyan, sir. Sinadya lang sa GC.
Tapos wala man lang nagtanong sa inyo, what is the, baka non-insurance or insurance, sir, yung tanong niya. Hindi, may nabanggit siya kanina contractual and regular. Or baka gusto mong sabihin that yung ano yung difference ng insurance between a contractual employee or regular employee. Tama ba? Or ano ba yung coverage ng insurance whenever an employee... Yes, Mr. Aguirre?
Parang kung covered po ba siya na yung insurance mo kung contractual ka lang po ba or
regular?
Opo.
Okay, sige. Alright, sige. Ayun, at least naintindihan natin yung yung question ni Mr. Aguirre. Oh, Ms. Loremas. Sagot. Or any other sa mga guests natin.
Regular po yun, sir.
Regular lang ang coverage, ang may coverage ng insurance.
Opo.
Ms. Loremas.
Ganun din po sa sagot ni Shane. Regular lang po yung insurance.
Regular lang may insurance. Ms. Panganiban.
Regular lang din.
Okay.
Depende po ba yun sa company, sir?
Tanungin muna natin sila kung ano yung thoughts nila. Barbarona.
Regular din po, sir.
Regular lang din. Okay. Well, in the real world, in reality, okay, it is the responsibility of the company to secure the safety and security of the employees, regardless of their employment status. Meaning, kung regular ka man, irregular ka man, no, kidding aside, regular ka man, contractual, on a daily basis, ano pa ba, project-based employee. For example, may project ka lang na gagawin sa isang employee, after the project, tapos na yung contract mo sa kanila. Okay? It is the responsibility of the establishment. Again, regardless of your employment status, regular or contractual man. Siyempre, as an employee, hindi ka naman agad-agad regular. Okay? And as employee, hindi ka naman exempted doon sa risk na meron sa isang company. And so, it is the responsibility of the company to make you safe and secure while working in the company. Pero syempre, outside the company, it's your own. Example, nag-time out ka na. Paglabas mo ng kumpanya, merong pabara-barang motorista na nakabangga sa'yo. Okay? It's no longer the obligation of the company.
Sir,
Opo.
Yes, Mr. Sarmiento.
yun nga, yung sinasabi yung contractual and regular. May difference ba yun between that, like, sa contractual ba may limitation dating sa insurance or wala? Like, same lang siya
Wala.
na nasa same lang din po siya na nasa regular.
Yes. Based on the Department of Labor and Employment Handbook of 2019, if I'm not mistaken, or 17 or 18, sa recently na nabasa ko, wala yon. Kumbaga, for example, sa isang kumpanya, naputulan dalawang empleyado naputulan ng kamay. Okay, isang contractual, isang regular. Sabihin sa regular, o ikaw, meron kang insured ka sa akin. Ikaw contractual ka, hindi ka insured, bahala ka sa buhay mo. Okay, hindi pwede 'yon. Kailangan kung anong benefit ng isang employee, regular man siya o contractual man siya, when it comes to this type of risk, naputulan ng kamay, naputulan ng daliri, naputulan ng paa, okay? So pare-pareha sila ng benefits when it comes to the risk or sa insurance. Pero sa benefits when it comes to salary, compensation, and other benefits, magkaiba sila. Okay. Any other? Next slide. Meron pa ba? Wala na?
Wala na po, sir.
Wala na?
Yun na po yung last.
Okay. Any other additional thoughts? Any clarification? Further discussion? Meron pa po ba? Reporters, Mr. Sarmiento, Montajes, and Mr. Aguirre, any additional?
Wala naman na po, sir.
Wala na. And so, that ends our Unit 1 of risk assessment within the framework of risk identification, risk analysis, and risk evaluation.